What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, how's my dog doing on this amazing morning? Huh? How we living today?
Yeah, everything's good, man. How about you?
Man, you know I can't complain, man. It's another beautiful morning. Woke up, thought about 5 things I was grateful for. Then after that, I let my feet hit the ground, took in a nice deep breath, slowed my exhale. Just feel good, man. Nice headspace this morning, man. You know, even though it is like 6 in the morning right now and I really don't have anything to not have my headspace be clear, it's just good to start the day off like that. So, you know, I can't complain, man. But
So are you locked into that room here on out?
In what regard? Like, am I moving
As
to a
in,
different
you're
room?
not going to move to another room?
Yeah,
Because
correct.
the first room you were in was not like this, right?
Yes,
What you were, it was like the first 2 podcasts or something. Now they moved you to this one. Was it because you said there were more people coming? Is that why they moved you rooms?
Yeah. So when I first got here, it was 2 people leaving, and I was the only one here. So it was like a little bit of an overlap. But the house, I mean, it's a big place. It was like 6 people, like full size rooms or whatever. So like 2 of those 3 days, I was like by myself, and they were like, "Well, hey man, we know we're gonna have another group of guys coming in. It's probably gonna be like, you know, a guy here, and there. But at the end, it's gonna probably be around like, you know, 5 guys in the house." So I started thinking, planning ahead. Hey man, where's the most quietest spot in the house with good Wi-Fi, but also gonna have a nice comfy chair? Laughing, stuff like that, can see the little city and everything. So it's a vibe, man. But yeah, I chose that room, and now I don't have to move until, was it? I would have to say, man, best part I would have to say is definitely the camaraderie. Being able to, like I said, bond with other guys who are going through some similar things as us. You know, because not everybody can relate to that whole football mentality and some of the things that, you know, we kind of lose out on as we become more in the spotlight. So just being able to talk to other guys that have dealt with it in some regard, and then talk with other guys that are married, other guys that, you know, are dealing with different injuries and stuff like that. It's just, like I said, a cool connection, a cool little brotherhood that we're building. And I actually know a couple of the guys. So that was the part 2 that made it like full circle. Like, man, I remember us on the front end of this thing, and now here we are on the back end, just continuing to grow and get better. So it's just, like I said, it's a good situation, man.
Good stuff, man.
Heck yeah, man. Because like I said, man, a lot of us as athletes, or just men in general, we don't like to talk about our feelings. We don't like to talk about, you know, what may be going on or not going on. So at times you might feel alone. But in this type of situation right here, where we're talking about some, you know, some pretty heavy stuff for various reasons, it's just cool to hear like, oh, all right, I ain't tripping it. Are you going through that too? Okay, it ain't me. Oh, are you thinking like that too? Okay, all right. And you just feel a little bit better, man. And then from there, you start just becoming more centered, more grounded, more understanding of life. And then you become able to flow just like water. And it's dope, bro. So for me, man, I'm loving that. The one complaint I do have, though, if I had to have a complaint, everything is healthy, Deke. There's no sugar in this house, bro. Gatorade Zero, Body Armor Light, no regular sugar. We got this, like, I forgot what it's called downstairs. It's like all this, like, ultra healthy stuff, man. Nothing fried. Yeah. So, you know, for me, you see how I eat. I likes to get it in. This is a little bit different for yours truly. But I understand it's a part of the total mind, body, and soul. So,
That does suck. Like going from like, I don't know. I guess that's not as extreme, but yeah, if you're like souped up on sugar and bad foods, and then you all of a sudden, like first couple of days, just want to do like a strict cleanse, go cold turkey off all that stuff. Like you are craving that stuff so bad.
Oh, no question, man. No question. But it's, like I said, a full process because you're getting that out of your system. Like I said, there's no other research materials as well, whether that be of the natural kind or the liquidated kind as well, that you can, you know, drink a little bit. It is completely clean situation. But we're going to make it work, baby.
So I'm getting a comment from Dave Dupree. Are you able to turn your audio up at all a little bit?
Well, my audio is up. I just don't want to speak loud. That's the big thing.
Okay.
Bro.
You want me to turn down a little bit?
We could do that, but at the same time, bro,
I could drop mine. You want me to drop it on my end a little bit?
Like I said, I think you're good regardless. I'm just not about to yell. That's my whole thing, bro.
I'll drop it a little bit. How about that? Okay, we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
If any comments come in, we'll adjust. But
for sure, yeah, I would say it because I'm not, but not doing that in the mornings, bro. Gotta let that voice warm up. You know what I'm saying? It is 6 a.m.
Juice box in, think we're fine. Yeah, so we'll be all right. We got Black and Martyr though. Starting off
like I used to. That's why Black and Martyr, man, he's the team captain right now, man. I'm crowning him team captain because he always is in here consistently dropping in the morning, getting the ball rolling, baby. I feel you, Black and Martyr. I feel you.
Okay, so I will start off with some shout-outs. Is that good with you?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to say. Oh, no, I forgot. I was supposed to say, hey, before we start the show, ladies and gentlemen, because you was over here getting me enlightened. But before we start the show, let us know where you are tuning in from, and we will give you that big boy shout out. So put it in the chat right now where you are tuning in from, baby.
I gotta say this one. Booty Bandit says just turned on the TV. Says who the hell is this Heather Abraham girl? Jesus Christ. 3 fire emojis. That's why they call him the Booty Bandit, I guess. Huh?
YOLO, wow. You talk about had this cool people. What was it? Pittsburgh Today Live. I think she does the morning news. Like, YOLO, wow, man. God, dog.
I guess that's why they call him his username, the Booty Bandit. He's always on the prowl.
Hey, man, even if it's 9 o'clock on East Coast time, just oh my God. All right, continue.
Okay, Stan Claire.
That's funny.
Says, good morning from the 905 Toronto. Mm-hmm. And then I was about to say this one. Ryan Rain Fagan. What's up, lads? Checking in from Ireland.
Ireland, my Irish brother. I hear you, baby. I hear you. You know, I rock with us Irish folk out here, man. We all got to stick together, baby. And our holiday's coming up, St. Patty's Day, baby. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
They're Bavarian. 757 Chesapeake. Love the NWO Wolfpack.
Oh, you already know. Woo! Woo! That's for all my, my old school wrestling heads out there, man. This is that grand era of wrestling. Oh, back when it was WCW versus that WWF, it was mad beef. And when they broke out that Wolfpack, whoo! Yeah, it just hit different.
That's exactly what Stan Claire said. He says that shirt marks the beginning of the end.
Yeah, man.
WCW.
Yeah, man. It was a crazy time. I used to love it, man. Love watching it back then, man. It's still good, but back then it was a totally different time. Totally different time.
Baron Bradford, 918, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Let's get it. He always
Damon Brown.
Major respect.
Macon, Georgia in the building. He's always in the house. Rashawn Jones, listening live from work, 732 Neptune, New Jersey, as always.
Let's go.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. I feel you. Let's get it.
You want me to read off a few more
work. Yeah, we got a couple more we'll get off, man. Absolutely.
All right. Kaza, 443, the 410, Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. He says, we got Steeler fans in Baltimore.
Oh, facts.
Too,
facts.
Ahmed. He was talking to someone else. I guess him and Ahmed are going back and forth about Steeler fans nationwide.
Yeah.
Salvador, Bakersfield, California.
Oh, he out here with me? Okay. Well, not actually like with me, but on that west side. I hear you, baby. Top of the morning, baby. Mr. Roasting Toast, Mr. Wakey Wakey. I hear you.
Huey Regal from Swansboro, North Carolina. Dave Shipley from the 321 Merritt Island, Florida. And then I'll finish off with this one. Rod Dawless, always tuning in. 614, Columbus, Ohio. Southside, baby.
Let's go. All right, looks like we got a couple of supers that came in, so we'll rock those real quick. And after that, man, we'll hop into this first topic. And it looks like probably going to be on the same page anyway as this first topic. So I'll go ahead and pull it up while you read those chats. Sound good?
Yeah, works for me.
My dog.
Friend Bradford says, Chris Olave. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. LOL.
Yeah. Rolling. I mean, obviously we're going to – well, you know what, man – I'll give it a second. Go ahead and read that second one real quick before we get this combine talk going a little bit here, man.
Cam Letson says, Yomos, can you please let Tomlin know I'm available for the GM position? Love the pod, boys.
Cam, you know I got you, baby. I'll shoot him a text. You want his number? I can give you his number. It's like literally right on the phone. Well, it's my phone's occupied right now, but otherwise I would give you that number, man. It's literally right there. I text him like, yo, Coach T, what up, baby? It's Moats. He's like, yo, was Jen, you looking like y'all still suck? And I'm like, hey, Coach, we don't even talk about you bottom feeders anymore. You William and Mary 1AA guys. What is that? Oh man, but yeah, dude. Let's start with this combine talk. I mean, first off, we'll start with the major headline first before we start talking about these burners that were running yesterday. This wide receiver class, holy cow, man. I thought they were fast, but it's different speed right here. But before we get to that, we got to address your boy, Mr. Kenny Pickett. Now, we've been hearing all this talk about his hand size, and we were making light of it. Everybody was joking, it's just the hand. Oh, it can't be that small. Joe Burrow said the same thing. Joe Burrow still had, I believe, 9 inches, though. I was like, okay. Then when they started showing Kenny's hand size, and they said it's what the smallest since, I think, 2003. And the 2 starting quarterbacks that they said started this past season with smaller hands close to his size were Brian Allen and Ryan Tannehill. And theirs was 8 and 7/8. I said, oh. Oh,
Tannehill's below 9.
Yeah. But I was like, man, they're still 8 and 7/8, so they're a lot closer to that 9 mark than where Kenny. Kenny was close to dang near 7. I was like, Lord, what's going on? Does that change anything about your feelings about Kenny now that you see how historically small his hands are?
No.
Okay.
If we're talking about Tannehill, I didn't know about the whole Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I hear brought up is Michael Vick at 8.5. Now, there is obviously a difference in Michael Vick and Kenny Pickett's game. A lot of Vick's success was predicated on the run, and also he had a cannon for an arm, too.
Yeah.
Whereas Pickett, he just seems like that steady, really good quarterback. I thought he looked good in the combine yesterday, too. Yeah. He threw some really nice deep balls, was really accurate on the short and intermediate stuff, too. Yeah. But no, that doesn't change for me. If you bring up that Tannehill at, 8'7", so 0.2 of an inch different between Pickett and Tannehill. I think he's fine.
Now, Deke, you call yourself Mr. 13. I think if anybody should know the difference between inches.
There was some remeasuring. You gotta watch my Big Deke news yesterday. Did you see it? You gotta watch it.
I'm just word on the street is size matters, Deke. They said every inch counts, man. That's what they saying out here, okay? Every inch counts. So I know you downplaying it because that's your boy. I get it. You know, I'm with you. Hail the pit. I'm with you. But it was coming up a little short, double jointed and all, man. I'm just throwing it out there, bro.
Well, that's the one thing I wanted to bring up is I do think the double jointedness from what I saw on Twitter, these are just random Twitter comments I'm coming across on my feed, but I think his hand gets bigger around the ball apparently because of that double jointedness. Like it becomes over 9. His hand becomes over 9, they said.
Oh, is that right?
Full hand around the ball, like the whole surface area. That's what I've heard. Not only that, but he wears the gloves too. The gloves can only help.
The gloves definitely help.
The grip.
I'll say that the biggest reason why, man, it's really talked about is because the NFL football is bigger. You've felt the NFL football before compared to a college ball. It is noticeably bigger. And the issue is, granted in college, you know, he's played in Pittsburgh where he had to play in some bad weather, inclement conditions. But with the smaller ball and gloves, you just have a lot more grip, which helps with the accuracy, right? That's why the whole fiasco about Deflategate was a big deal. It's like, oh, man, you're deflating the ball so you can have better grip in these type of conditions. Like you said, though, at the NFL level, that ball is a lot bigger. We know the season is a lot longer, so you play in a lot more inclement weather games, and that's what they're really worried about in terms of just when the weather is like that, how secure can you hold that ball? When you see guys coming around and swatting at his arm, is his hand going to be big enough to hold that ball through that? I mean, think about how we've seen Ben at times when guys are hitting on him or pulling on him. He's able to just keep that ball over here. Even if somebody's hitting that arm, he never has to worry about his hand, that ball falling on his hands because how big his hand is. That's some of the stuff that, you know, guys are just concerned about. To me, I don't think it's an issue in perfect weather. I do think it could potentially be an issue, like I said, with the inclement weather. But I don't think that if I was going to draft Kenny at 15, I'm not going to pick him now. I don't think if, you know, he fell to 20, we're going to say, oh, no, you can't pick that guy. Hand's too small. I'm not going there, but I do think it's something that we would notice if, you know, you start playing in these inclement weather games and you're like, man, why is he always dropping that ball, man? Why? Not in the sense of just dropping it, but when he's getting hit, it's like, man, where's the ball security at with that? In a sense, that could potentially be something that we would see.
Yeah, I would assume if you're slated to take Kenny Pickett at some point because the hand size talk was a concern already. Yeah, this doesn't change. At least it wasn't like 8 flat or like in the 7s, right?
Right. If it was in the 7s,
8.5, a half an inch below 9. I mean, come on.
Dude, don't you play, Deke.
I mean, come on.
Don't you play, Deke. Don't you play.
Can the dude play? The dude can play. Dude threw for 42 touchdowns. I get your point your point's pretty good though with the NFL ball being a little bit bigger.
But that's the
But if Vic was able to do it, if Tannehill's like at 8.7, I think Pickett will be fine.
I'm with you, but you didn't even like Tannehill all the way.
I don't like Tannehill, but he's had a really good NFL career.
And I like how you ignore Brian Allen. I like how you ignored the whole Brian Allen part as well. He's like, I ain't talking about him. But just stick to Tannehill.
Yeah.
Take the facts you need for your argument. Salute you, Deke. I like what you're doing.
Well, out of the 3 we named, 2 of them had successful NFL careers, though.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, and
I don't know if there's other guys we're missing, though, that are just maybe they're just not good. Here's the problem, though. We could go with the hand size stuff. Maybe some people just aren't good at football.
Yeah, very true, man. Absolutely.
Hand size or not.
Yeah, but I just think
so for me, not a big deal.
I think of it kind of in the same sense of when we talk 40-yard dashes, right? If a guy plays fast, I don't care if his time is crazy slow. If he plays fast, he plays fast. Now, granted, if we know that this guy is out there on the perimeter and he's only a 4.5 or 4.6 guy, and like we talked about the other day, he's matching up against a 4.2, 4.3 guy, and his technique isn't perfect. If he's not, using everything to the fullest extent, that's when we could really see it. So as long as Kenny wears his gloves like he's supposed to, don't get out to the NFL and start trying to get cute saying, I don't want to wear gloves because no other quarterback wears gloves. Don't do that. Go be who you are. Teddy Bridgewater. We call him Teddy Two Gloves for a reason, right? He wears 2 gloves all the time. If that's what you need to do to be successful, man, wear those 2 gloves. Stop playing around, and he'll be fine, man.
Yeah, I think he's always worn the gloves, even since freshman year. Yeah. I was a little surprised, too. 2 things with Pickett, actually. I mean, his 4.6 was pretty solid.
No, it was, man. Absolutely.
4.69? Was that what it was? It was 4.6 something else, too. He had 2. Yeah, 4.67, 4.69, I think.
I'm about to say, I wanted to see what did they mark it as the official? Because that's the only thing I don't like, man. How you'll see a guy run a crazy time this fast, and then all right, now it's official. And you're
4.67.
Where'd you add all this time to it? Yeah,
the one was 4.67, the other one was 4.69.
Nice, that's good speed.
So that was good for him.
Absolutely. Like I said, that's on
not
that
only
laser.
Was I a little surprised. What?
And I said, and that's on the laser. That laser hit different, bro. Like. That's what you'll hear guys always talk about, like unofficial versus official times, because the unofficial time is like what we call like your real speed. Whereas that laser, it's like we want your whole body across the line, not just the first thing that breaks the plane. So that's why you can get a little bit of that time difference. But no, Kenny was rolling, man. That's fast for him, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is fast. And also his height. Over 6'3". I knew he was measured at that.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling though it was souped up, but no, he's legit 6'3". And because he has a little bit more of a stocky body.
Yeah.
He just never looked that tall to me.
Yeah,
but that was also good for him too.
I thought he was 6'2" this whole time. 6'3" looks good though, man, just in terms of the measurables, because like we said, even though it's not gonna make or break his career, if he could play, he could play. The 6'3" just eases the minds of some scouts because it's more in line with the prototypical size versus you saying, man, he's a shorter quarterback, smaller hands, and all these other things. It just seems like another reason to knock a person down.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's the hands, then you have those 2 things that maybe cancel it out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Man.
Now, I had a question about the 40.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Are they being told when to go, or do they just go whenever they want?
You go on your own mark, but you have to just pause for a second so that way the camera can catch you. But it's a weird setup too, man, when you're running the 40 at the scouting combine compared to your pro day. In terms of at the combine, there are 2 lines on the ground. So one is for your front hand and one is for where your foot has to be. So for guys that aren't accustomed to that, it makes you have to get a little bit more of a crouch stance. So if you're a taller guy or a longer guy, that can make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Whereas, when you're doing it at your pro day, you don't have the same restrictions on where you can have your back foot. So if guys want to be a little bit more elongated in their stance, thinking like you're coming out of a blocks for like track, you can do more of that. Whereas at the combine, it's really more, they put more like restrictions on it. So everybody is running the exact same way in a sense.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that. I'm like, man, hearing a dude wrong or just going off someone else telling you when to go could screw up your time so bad.
But honestly,
cost your NFL future.
True, but honestly, it is sometimes worse when you get to go by yourself because
Really?
you're sitting there and you're thinking about it. Because you're like, yo, I got to get out. I got to get this jump. And what are you timing though for your jump? Sometimes, like if you're watching the ball, you can jump the snap count, where I'm anticipating it, boom, and now I get that half a second. If you think this guy's about to say go, you're just like, all right, boom, and now you roll. But when it's just going off your movement, you don't get that luxury anymore. So that can get in guys' heads. I just, from personal experience, I remember sitting down there, like when I was training for it, like, man, I just go on my own, like, ugh. Like, okay. And then you start to get a little bit more comfortable with it, but it's definitely a different vibe when you're just on that line and you feel it. Like in terms of like the eyes on you, because there's cameras all around, it's like weirdly quiet because you can hear like some of the guys that are running or the guys that are in your group, they'll be quiet while you're up there at the line so you can have complete focus. But now you're sitting in this Indianapolis Colts stadium, you see all these people, you can feel their movement, but everybody's just eerie quiet. And you got the scouts in the Dagon stands. It's weird, bro. Yeah. So you really got to be able to just like lock in and say, hey, you know what, man? Tunnel vision. I'm just rolling, you know? But it's definitely like, and that's why like you'll see some guys at times like they stumble out the blocks because they're nervous. Guys like it just get real wacky at the combine at times, man.
Did you run faster or slower than what you wanted?
I ran slightly slower than I wanted, but at the same time, I figured that was going to be the case once I got there and we really realized that we're not running day one, because that's the whole mystery, right? You think like, okay, when I get there, I'm going to be running early, and then after that, I do all this other stuff. It's like,
oh, yeah, weren't you saying your weight was fluctuating out there?
Right, because they put your body through the ringer. So they're throwing your schedule up. You're waking up 4 a.m, going to sleep late. You're at meetings. You're poked and prodded. You're sitting in MRI machines. You're getting X-rays. You're getting doctors pulling on everything that hurts on you. And then the last day you're there is when you actually run. So by the time you get there, you're like, man, my eating schedule is off. My body's sore from sitting in these machines. Mentally, you're a little bit drained and exhausted from all of just the around-the-clock schedule. And then it's like, go out there and run. So you could kind of anticipate, like, man, you know, when guys have bad performances, it's like, I can understand that. So granted, when I was going there, I was anticipating running 4.52, like, because that's what I had ran before. It was like 4.52, 4.49, best case scenario. But
that would have been sick. Yeah,
well, it would have probably got me drafted a couple rounds earlier. But instead, I ended up running 4.57, which on laser turns into 4.63 because, like I said, when you're doing hand time, it's when your head crosses. First thing that crosses. When it's the laser, it goes off of your hip. So your whole body has to get through that line. And that's the difference of a 4.57 compared to a 4.63. But that was why, for me, I was like, man, I didn't hate my time, but I knew I could have ran faster. But at the same time, I wasn't going to run it again because I felt like, man, I dropped 2 dope times at the combine. And I was like, man, if I'm running that hand time and laser time, you already know I'm fast. My tape proves everything else. So that's why I didn't run it again at my pro day.
Yeah. Because for a linebacker, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. And I was also.
Is it different now, though? Is it different now? Like, is that time? I'm just trying to think because a lot of these linebackers are faster. Like, would you still feel good about that right now if you came in the league?
Yeah, but you got to remember, this is the difference. When I was coming in the league, I was a tweener. So I was still being viewed as a DN outside linebacker or inside linebacker. And in 2010, the LBs were thicker, 245, 250.
Yeah.
You still had Brandon Spikes out there. He came in with me as well, right? That dude's what, 255, 260. So he's running like a 4.8. You know what I mean? 4.9 in some sense. So it's like, yo, I'm a blazer compared to those guys. But then you had guys like Sean Weatherspoon, who got drafted by Atlanta out of Missouri. He ran like 4.4. And I remember looking at him saying, yo, that's a guy I'm trying to catch. I got to run that speed like him because he was already that prototypical inside linebacker body build and stuff like that. But now, now my speed, it would be dope just because of the still outside ability. But in terms of inside linebacker, they'd be like, nah, man, we need faster than that. Like, that's not going to cut it. Like we talked about, we're looking at 4.4s now, and that's like the norm for inside backers. 4.5 low is worst case scenario. Otherwise, we're like, man, I don't know if he's fast enough to play that inside.
You want to talk about anyone else from the combine?
Yeah,
Malik Willis throwing some bombs.
Dude, Malik, man, he's one of the guys that really impressed, right?
He looked good.
Yeah, for me, I like the fact that once again, right, when we talk about guys coming from non-Power 5 conferences or non-G5 schools, it's like, man, what do you do to even the playing field where you have to perform at a high level at your all-star games, whether it's the Senior Bowl, East-West Shrine game, whatever when you're playing in, you got to look good. We said Malik looked good at the Senior Bowl, right? Throughout the practices and even in the game. So then it was like, okay, your next test. all right, it's the combine now. All things are equal here. What are you going to do to separate yourself or to show that you belong? For him to stand up the way that he was doing in there, man, throwing those rocks, throwing them past the way he was throwing them, man, he looked good. The anticipation was there, the tight spirals. I mean, the deep ball, like I said, across the board, he just looked like he belongs. He looked very confident, and it was good to hear him also double down on his confidence by saying that he feels like he should be the first quarterback off the board. I said, okay, Malik, now you're talking. Now you're speaking my language, baby.
I didn't hear that one. I heard some of the comments in relation to the Steelers. Not sure if he's a fit for the system, but then also saying that he met with the coaches, likes the coaches. That's something that he could get behind.
Yeah.
But I like the honesty of just saying, like, I don't really know the system. I don't know if it's a good fit or not.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look good in writing as much.
Do any of us know the system? Do any of us know?
Oh, I know what it is. I know what the system is. I saw it last year.
We called it sabotage. That's what
stealing
he said the system is.
Stealing it from the GOAT. That's what the system is.
The expedited exit. That's what we call that, man.
Yeah, so that might not affect Malik Willis if we draft him because he's a rookie. But no, they want to expedite, as you said, the GOAT out of the franchise.
That was pretty funny, man.
That's what the system was.
But outside of Malik, man, can we talk about these wide receivers real quick? Because, dude.
Sure. The guy we just talked about.
Bro, I mean, think about a couple of the guys we talked about, right? Tyquan Thornton goes out there and runs, 4.28. I said
initially 4.21.
Bro, I thought we said he was fast on tape, but bro.
Oh, yeah, it didn't look like this. No, hell no.
Filthy. 4.2.
He looked more like, I thought he was just more of a smooth runner. I thought it'd be a smooth like 4.4 or something, but holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I was like, yo, you are rolling. Then Christian Watson, North Dakota State. Bro, we knew, and watching him on tape, what did we say? We said, man, it looked like the DBs he was going against just were stuck in the mud. He just ran right by him, and it was hard to evaluate him all the way at times. And then even at the Senior Bowl, we're like, man, he's, I thought he just had a good matchup. I didn't realize he tested like that, though, the crazy speed. Then you look at the vertical, the broad jump, like, my man was off the charts. Like, off the charts athletic ability. I was thoroughly impressed to see that from him, man.
And he's got some of that wiggle that we were seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his highlights, he could kind of break people down, juke them out a little bit, get open, create separation that way. So yeah, he's someone. We were talking about him in the second round. Who knows? Maybe he's now even going late first, so he might be out of our range if we want to take him in the second round.
He looked really good. Oh, and before we go any further about these other receivers, we got some color. So you know what we do when we get this type of color? Stop the tape. This kid needs to be locked away. Deke, don't sit there. Operate. Come on, man. Read it up. What we got?
Skye Harris says, top of the morning, my guys. Baby-handed Pickett did his thing, throwing the ball. Yeah, Pickett looked good. Accurate. I mean, his deep balls were perfect, too.
No, absolutely.
Right in the breadbasket, in stride. Malik Willis looked good as well. Don't see those guys lasting to 20. Receiver speed. Speed, maybe we need a new Young Money crew led by Skye Moore. Love the show. Yes, indeed.
Hey, no, man. Salute you, Skye Harris, man. We always appreciate your support for the channel, man. And this is why we stop shows for support like this because, this is huge, man. This helps us out in a major way, so we definitely appreciate you for that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Both of the dudes, though, Malik and Kenny, man, they definitely look good. I don't think either of those guys hurt themselves. I know people make a big deal about Kenny's hands, but at the end of the day, like Deke said, man, if you can play, you can play. I wasn't prototypical size, but I could play. It's plenty of guys. James Harrison wasn't prototypical size. He can play. When you point to guys that it doesn't matter, they're just good. It does not matter all those intangibles like that, man. If a guy got it, he has it. And then, talking about that the new Young Money crew, Skye Moore, perfect transition because he was the next guy I wanted to bring up. We said, what did I say? I said, man, I love everything I saw on tape with him, but I questioned, does he have big speed? Because it was like, man, you see him pulling away from guys, but he's kind of small. He's like, you just don't know. That's over now. That has been fully put to rest. I think it was 4.38, I believe it was that he ran? Bro.
Yeah, it's saying officially 4.41.
Well, no. But remember what I said, though. That's just the difference.
The first one was like 4.38, though. You're right.
But yeah, that's just the difference of the head hitting it first versus the laser hitting the hip. So trust me, don't be scared off by that at all. Like, that's rolling, man. That's a game changer for me. Not in the sense of I was skeptical of him because, remember, I was very high on him. I think that he could play. I think he's a natural slot day one, but I think he has the ability to go on the outside. Seeing that speed confirms it, though. That lets me know that, it's not just because he might have had, a DB from Pitt chasing after him or a DB from, one of these other schools that he was playing against in the MAC or whatever. And that's why he was just pulling away from those guys. Like, no, he has legitimate pro speed. And that is a game changer for me. Like, I like that a lot. It just confirms some things for me with him, man. But, yeah, I think his stock is continuing to skyrocket. I mean, he looked awesome in drills, too. You watch him when he's running his routes, catching the ball, man, he's a smooth guy. And you can see all the things that we talked about on tape in terms of just his wiggle, his ability to have soft hands. I mean, just a natural route runner, natural pass catcher, man. Like, I definitely feel like he made himself a lot of money running that time, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for him too. I just wonder if he's pricing himself out for where we thought we were going to take him.
And that's the
we were
difference.
Thinking third round.
Man.
Oh, now we have to spend a second rounder on him.
Potentially, yeah. But with these guys running times like that, that definitely, makes their value increase a little bit more, because it's one thing to know a guy's, or it's one thing to watch on tape and say, hey, man, I think this guy's fast. He plays fast. But it's another thing to have it confirmed. And that's what these guys are doing at the combine right now. They are confirming big speed. They are confirming their full athletic ability, taking all the guesswork away from it. And that's why those type of guys typically move up the draft board even more, especially when you look at Skye Moore's productivity. It's not like we're talking about a guy that didn't have numbers and he just ran fast. No, this is a guy that was ultra productive and now went out there and dropped that 4.3 on him. Like, that's legitimate. And even Taekwon. Remember, we said with Taekwon, we're like, man, we think that he was kind of limited in terms of his route tree, but he still was a productive receiver in terms of his numbers. But now when you throw that 4.28 on with it, or unofficial 4.21, it's like, man, do you feel a little bit more intrigued about him because you're saying you either have that speed or you don't, and you feel like you can coach the rest up. Some people will feel like that, and that's why you'll see guys that maybe
at least take the flyer.
Right, because that is just next level speed. That's different. And that's why guys like him, man, when you have the productivity that he had, even though it wasn't over 1,000 receiving yards and stuff like that, it was still close to it. I think it was what high 800s, 900.
I think it was 900. Yeah.
So it's like, man, that's still decent productivity. And then you throw that 4.2 on him. It's like, man, that's the perfect combination right there. So it just makes you think about him even more. But what about these Ohio State receivers? Yeah. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, bro. Like, I knew Olave could fly. We knew that. We've seen that. I mean, I was upset 2 years ago when he ran past my boy JJ, Lil Peasy, Joey Porter's son over at Penn State. I was like, dude, why you got to do him like that? And I was like, okay, that dude got to be fast because I know Peasy's son is pretty fast. But to see him run what he ran, I'm like, whoa, okay, that's confirmation. That's different. But like I said, we knew he would be fast. Garrett Wilson was the surprise to me because I didn't think that he was a blazer. I thought that he was just more of the smooth route runner, could catch everything and things like that. But he go out there and run that 4.4. You're like, oh, like it's showing that these dudes, man, I don't know if the clock was fast or that turf was fast or what, but it was a lot of speed out there yesterday, man. A lot of speed.
There was, and even Dotson from Penn State, the 4.43. Absolutely. And I swear to God, he didn't even look like he was moving fast. Dude, it looked like it was an off day for him.
That's the funny part. When you're watching these receivers run, that's how you know it's like legit speed. When it looks like they don't have to run hard, when it looks like they're just easing down the road, you're like, oh, that dude, that's gifted. That's talent right there, man. Because most of the guys, like when they run, like when I run, man, I look like I was running hard, like da-da-da-da-da, even though you want to be loose because you have to be relaxed to go faster. Otherwise, you're like fighting yourself. Certain guys just look like they're running hard. Whereas other guys, like you said, with those receivers, they just look like easy runners. We call them like track guys because you watch a guy run track, even though he's running a blazing time, he really doesn't look like he's like straining. It's just fluid. And that's what those receivers were looking like yesterday, man. Just almost like they're floating out there, man.
Wonder what this means for Jameson Williams, because he was the blazer of the group, I thought, in terms of the top-end receivers, because you got some of these dudes up here that are running fast times, but I don't think they were going to get drafted early first round like some of these other dudes like that. Yeah, the Ohio State guys, obviously Dotson from Penn State. Like, whenever you're seeing these Ohio State receivers run those times, does it make you forget about Jameson Williams a little bit? Because now he's not going to run it all. We don't know what his.
Right. Well, for me,
I just know he jumped off the screen whenever I would watch him.
Exactly. So for me, I say it like this, dude. I say all of these receivers play fast, but we felt like Jameson played to a different speed. So
I'm telling you, man.
So if these
people
guys,
are forgetting about him,
so if these guys ran faster than what we thought they played at, imagine what Jameson could do. That's kind of how I look at it. If you know what I mean, like think about what that would look like then. So for me, man, I don't think it hurts him. If anything, and we knew there was still a chance that he wouldn't be the first receiver off the board because he's coming back from an injury.
Oh, I don't think he is. I don't think he is now. He'll be like the fourth or fifth, probably.
Correct. And honestly, it sucks, but that's just a part of the injury. But I don't think he falls off the first round. I just think that this means more receivers are going to be taken potentially in the first round or a little bit earlier, which is still a benefit for us as well. We want more receivers going ahead, more receivers getting drafted, because now we're going to have a little bit more of, just options at 20, or if we decide to move anywhere, because we're going to have guys potentially falling to us, maybe a linebacker here or old lineman, or even one of these quarterbacks potentially falling. Like, that's the part for me where I was like, man, keep running those fast times, because the more of those guys that go, the better crop of talent we're going to get to choose from when we're picking at 20.
Initial take, I haven't seen enough of them right now. Mm-hmm. This Drake London dude's overrated.
Why you don't like Drake, man? Talk about him a little bit, man.
I feel like he's just big. That's all. I think that's why people are enamored.
Well, Deke, you told me size mattered. That's what you said.
Well, I didn't say that. I said Pickett at 8'5" is fine.
Yeah, man.
He's just as good as anyone else. London, the reason I just think as soon as I saw him, I haven't seen too much. I'm just going to preface it by that. So I'm sure we're going to talk about him more later in a future podcast. But he just looks like Claypool to me. I'm like,
seriously,
Claypool went second round. Why are they talking about this dude going like top 10 or maybe even the top receiver off the board?
Yeah. Well, since nobody has actually brought him up to us in terms of like to break him down, man, we can do that next week though easily, dude. Just to give us our true opinions.
Oh, it's no worries. I was just wondering what the hype was. So I
dude.
watched some of his stuff the one day. I was just bored. I'm like, wait, because where did he come out of? He out of nowhere. I know the Ohio State receivers. Jameson Williams
Drake
was always
Drake
like one of the tops on my list.
No, but see, Drake was talked about going into this last season as well. Like, people were definitely high on him. So it wasn't like he just kind of came out of nowhere. But I just think, man, you know how it is.
But now they're putting him up with those other
guys. It just feels different, that part. Because, number one, USC wasn't a powerhouse this season. We talked about that with Banner. They definitely were going through some things. So it just felt a little different. But yeah, I still think that he's a good player. I'm with you though.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just thinking, like, to me, whenever I see him, I'm like, what's the difference between him and like Pittman or Claypool?
Right.
And they went in like the second round. Why is this dude getting talked about so much like that?
Yeah. No, I feel you. So like I said, man, I'll watch him on tape of him. I'll break him down, and then we'll talk about him, like I said, next week, man. Whether it be Monday or Wednesday, man, we'll definitely get on that, man. But yeah, I could definitely, I could feel what you, I feel what your sentiment. I can understand you.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like the separation was anything crazy with him either. So
yeah,
that's all. I'll look into it more. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll come back. I'll come back the next podcast and say I'm an idiot. But
right,
we'll see.
Happens. We'll see either way. We will see either way. But man, I think that was it for me, man, with the combine. Like I said, man, we'll get some more guys running today, tomorrow, and then obviously, man, starting next week, we'll do a lot more. I think we'll probably have combine talk multiple times next week, just because with some of these players we're breaking down and, just being able to react to some of these performances. Big guys running, linebackers need these DBs getting up out there running as well, man. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man, to see all that happening, man. So we'll definitely keep this rolling with the show going into next week as well, man. But you get these supers, and after that, man, we'll go to this next topic. Sound good?
Yeah, works for me.
All right.
We are at Rain Fagan. Mm-hmm. So Ritter looked good yesterday. Still rough, but I've come around on possibly taking him in the second round and still have him under a vet for a year. It's Ryan, by the way. Well, yeah, I botched that up. Apologize.
Nah, man. Ritter definitely, we talked about him. He has good size. We thought that he looked extremely good throwing on the move, rolling out the pocket at the Senior Bowl. Displayed good accuracy and athletic ability to escape some rushes at times in the Senior Bowl. Some guys that we even talked about defensively that, we kind of like a little bit. Yeah, but if you're taking them second, third round, I like it a lot. I'm cool with that. But at the same time, I just don't know how I feel about the whole backup quarterback situation when
I
we're
don't feel
still
good
trying
about
to
it.
compete. Yeah, I would much rather spend a draft pick on a player that can come in and help us. A second round receiver. We've talked about some of these guys and how we had them mocked, and now potentially, if they are still there in the second, like we need to take them. They're not going to fall to the third. I would much rather have a Skye Moore if he was in the second round. I don't know if he's going to last down because of what he ran, but if he was, like, I would much rather do that than draft a Desmond Ridder to sit behind a Mason or a Haskins, personally.
Yeah. Like, I want to draft Malik Willis. I
Yeah.
really do. Or if we did Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, but I just have this feeling we're just going to roll with Mason.
I do too.
Right off the bat. And it's just going to feel like a wasted pick, at least for this year.
Yeah.
Not long term, but I don't want to waste this year, though. I think with the cap space we have and the draft capital we have, we could put together a nice team.
And we still
but if we draft Willis,
talent.
would you have to get Mason off the roster, though? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. If you went, you know what I mean? If you went with Malik as QB1 right off the bat.
But think about this. You still have Dwayne Haskins that he would have to beat out. There's no guarantee that Mason is beating out Haskins right now if they're both given the same opportunity. So that's my whole thing. It's just like, I still just don't love it when I think of, man, we could be using that pick on a player that can help us right now. And especially with Kevin Colbert saying that he wants to win this year. He doesn't want to wait. He doesn't want to rebuild. He doesn't want to retool. They want to win now. It's like, man, I just don't see how that benefits them in the same way, man.
No, dude, Malik looks good though, man. I can see him being a stud for like 5-10 years.
He does, man.
That's the problem.
He looks real good, man.
Do you sacrifice that for, I guess, just believing in Mason, thinking he can get it done this year for you?
And Mason we trust? Oh.
Hey, I get the sentiments for not believing in him. I really do. But there's still a who knows with him.
Very true.
I think I'm slowly trying to talk myself into as time goes on.
You keep doing it, then. You keep talking.
I'm trying. It makes sense cap-wise, at least right now. It makes sense cap-wise. But then you see those throws by Malik Willis. And still, it's the combine. So it's not the biggest of deals, but it's like, bro.
Right, but it just
combine that arm with the speed. And then I'm starting to think with his body type, I feel like my comp of the Vic Russell Wilson is a little bit more and more true.
Yeah, he looks good, man. He looks good, dude.
If he lives up to the potential.
Yeah, he looks good, man.
Young Poppy Bonito says, Moats, what was your path to the draft like?
Man, my path to the draft, it was a dope thing, man. Actually, I didn't get the initial invite. So for those who don't know, they do 2 waves of combine invites. One before the season of college football starts, and then one in like January. So going into my senior year, I didn't have a combine invite. I didn't even have a All-Star game invite at the time. So I knew I was getting a lot of buzz in terms of just being drafted because I had a ton of agents reaching out to me after I had a really dope junior day. So for those who don't know, your junior day is like this. It's like pro day before juniors. So you're able to go out there and you run a 40 and you get your measurables done. You don't do anything else, just 40. You talk to all the scouts, and they take all your information down and stuff like that. But at JMU, when they had the junior day, it was like a wintry mix. So it was like snowy and rainy. And I went out there and I ran a 4.53. And it was just like, whoa, like we knew you were fast, but that's different. And in these conditions, and we know you haven't even trained because you don't train to run a 40 your junior year of college. You train for 40s when you got to go to the combine and pro days and stuff. So no training. It was like, yo, 4.5, like I said, 4.53, 4.56 or whatever. Excuse me. In that wintry, rainy mix. And then, because my first one was 4.53, my second was 4.56. I had to run it twice. And it was just like, whoa, I see them all looking at their clock like. So for me, I kind of knew I had buzz. But then my senior year, I go out there and I have, a record-breaking season, where you have 90 tackles, 23.5 for loss, 11 sacks from the DM position, touchdown as well. It's like, bro, that's even more insane productivity. Then I go and win the Buck Buchanan Award. So it was like, man, all right, I got a lot more buzz going. So first I get my invite to the Texas vs. the Nation All-Star game. And I remember I'm going off the jersey to train and stuff like that because I had to learn how to run, and test and all this stuff and learn how to play linebacker. So I go off the jersey for like my whole second semester. That's why I didn't finish my degree initially. I had to go back to school after my rookie year because I had left that following semester just to go ahead and just focus on football. So I do all that training stuff, have a good performance at the All-Star game. get back, then I get the combine invite. So I was a late invitee. I was still skeptical. I was training with guys who were going to the combine, and I was like, dang, man, you kind of feel like down in a sense, like, man, I know I'm nice. I know my numbers should be what they are, but because I'm at a small school and some of these guys are at bigger schools, you just don't get that invite. And the way it works for the combine invite is you have to have, I believe it is at least 20 teams. It's either 15 or 20 teams that have to be interested in you. So if you don't have that many teams that are wanting to see more information on you, they don't invite you to the combine. So you're just kind of like, yeah. So it's different. So that's where you're like, man, like, bro, nobody rocking with me like that. Like I got all these agents hitting me up. Like, what's going on here? But then I get on that next invite list, and now I was like, okay, whew. But then from that deep exhale, I became pissed because now I'm like, oh, y'all waited to invite me, so y'all don't think I'm good enough. Or y'all trying me out here. So my mentality became like dog eat dog. Like, I don't care about anybody. I'm at your neck. So I remember going there and I'm looking at the Jason Worlds, who's coming from Virginia Tech, and I'm sizing him up the whole time. Now, granted, it was still love, but I'm like, bro, I'm looking at you like you fooled to me. Because at the time he was just coming off a surgery. So he was similar height and weight. I'm like, I'm going to make sure that my numbers is eating you up. I looked at Brandon Graham. I said, okay. Yeah, I'm at your neck, like absolutely, and that was my mindset. So everything that I did there, I wanted to stand out. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure my bench, I need 20 of these reps. I'm gonna make sure my 40 time, nobody's gonna be faster on my group. Like I'm gonna make sure my vertical, I'm dropping that 36 and a half on it. They're like, whoa, okay. Then it was broad jump. It's like, no. We ain't none of these under 9-inch dudes. They can't jump. No, this thing 10 plus over here. Like we explosive, and showed all of that. And then for me, man, that was really where like my stock took off even more, man. And that's why, like, for me, I was also a guy that said, man, I'm not going to run at my pro day. I'm not doing anything on my pro day. And I said, I'm standing on my combine because I was like, this is where it's all equal. We know at the pro days, man, it gets janky because it's hand time. It gets janky. You know, it was like, no. I want you to see my official numbers. And I felt like if I go out here and I kill it on the official level, I don't have anything else to prove. And that's what I did, man. I lit it up. I was a top 10 performer in like every single category, top 5 in some instances as a DN or linebacker. And yeah, man, everything worked out. But still, I went in the 6th. I still fell in the draft. I mean, it was.
You were supposed to go 3rd, though. It was after the combine. You went up to 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. After the combine, that's when they started saying 3rd round, 4th round. And they said worst case 5th. But like I said, obviously, we see how the draft works at times, man. One person goes out of position or whatever, and it changes. So that was why I ended up falling. But yeah, man, I felt dope coming out of that situation, but that was my whole path to the combine, path to the draft situation, man. Yeah, lot of anger in my system. But now I breathe and I decompress and I namaste. I am one with nature.
It sounded like throughout your story you were there for a minute. Like you put yourself back into that world.
Oh yeah. I started getting a little warm too. I was like, oh yeah. I'm sure if they was looking at my brain waves like, oh yeah. Mostly don't like to talk about that. I get mostly turned up a little bit. Yeah.
Brandon Graham.
Yeah. And Brandon, that's a good dude, man. Like anytime I got a chance to talk with him, man. Like, love Brandon, man. Love what he was doing in Philly, man. Continue to do in Philly. Hope he recovers from his injury, too, man. He had the surgery, obviously. Had to sit out this season, man. But it was major love. And then even Worlds, I mean, being able to come here and be his teammate, that was dope also, man. But it's just a different mentality when you're trying to get it. When you're trying to prove that you belong. You're trying to prove that you're just as good or better. And they always tell you the same thing. Oh, well, this guy played at Tech. This guy's at Michigan. 2 other guys, I ain't even mentioned them. The 2 other guys that set me off too was Sergio Kendall from Texas. You remember Sergio Kendall from Texas?
Yeah, he was good.
And Eric Norwood from South Carolina, man. Those 2 dudes, oh my gosh. Like that dated back to going into my senior year where I was balling out early on. And my head coach addresses me right before one of my classes. And I'm political science. So I'm like, bro, I'm not even where the athletes are. This is like, nobody comes on this side of campus. And I remember, man, he calling me out in front of my class. I'm like, bro, are you serious? He's like, this Sergio Kendall guy, he's a good player. You think you're doing something. He's a guy. You're not a guy. He's a guy. This Eric Norwood guy that texts me, man, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't want to hear this. And he's like, da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay. And I remember, man, going to practice the rest of that year trying to kill every single person on my team because of those two dudes. So getting to the combine and seeing them as well, I'm like, oh, nah, bro, don't even speak to me right now.
Sounded like Tomlin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, it was that type of vibe, man. It was that type of energy, but it was smart by them. They were motivating me. They knew I wasn't complacent, but they knew it was a lot more that I could live up to. And it just clicked that switch for me, man. And from there on, man, I just took that for the rest of that senior season and going to all the off-season stuff, pro days, combines, man. But, yeah, man, that was the vibe for me, dude.
Were your coaches like that up in Buffalo? Were they like comparing you to other players all the time?
No, not at all, man. Buffalo, them dudes was worried about their job.
Just Tomlin
bro.
and the JMU dude?
Yeah. They, like, Buffalo, like I said, because every year we were having different coaches. So, like, position coaches and stuff like that. So, you never really got a chance to build like that. They were more so like, man, I got to make sure you're good so that way I don't get fired. And they would still get fired. So, it was a weird situation, man. But Pittsburgh, yeah, Coach T, man, that's his value. That, he going right back to that thing. Hey, Moats, see that dude over there, right? Okay, what's it gonna be? And you're like, all right, coach, I'm trying not to go back to this. You know what I mean? You tested me. I'm not there just yet, coach. And then you start walking around with that look in your eye. You put that hoodie on. You start walking around like you would I ain't Jedi. I'm on the dark side. I'm with that Sith. You know what I'm saying? And from there, man, you just get that darkness. But it works. That's why for me, like when I was playing, like I had to go there. But now I don't try to go there at all. I don't want to go there. I want to be happy and peaceful. That's all I want to be now.
You got Farron Bradford talking about some GM said, if we hire Louis Riddick, do you think that means we draft Horns based off his schematic fit? Who the hell is Horns? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I am not sure 100%. I'd have to look to see exactly who you were talking about there, man. But I mean, we'll see though, man, because obviously Lewis,
I'll look out for his comment. Maybe he clarified.
Okay, I'm about to say Lewis is definitely different though, bro. He's definitely different, man.
Mm-hmm. What the hell happened with that? They said we officially interviewed him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, well,
but the news came out about us interviewing him like a month ago. It was like
right.
2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
That's what,
maybe we just waited this long to actually interview.
Because
I think the initial report was like
maybe.
Steelers 2 interview.
Yeah, maybe that was it then. Yeah.
And then I guess we finally did.
Yeah. Because I know they go through multiple interviews. They have like they can do like a virtual one or a phone call one, then they actually do an in-person one. So I have to look into it a little bit more to see exactly all those details, and then from there, man, yeah, we'll find more information. But I do like the fact that that's officially happened now. If that is just the case, I am liking that because I do think he's one of those guys that you get him in that interview room, he will blow guys away, man, without a doubt.
Yeah. I like him as an option for sure. But I also heard that we're not even going to finish up the GM interviews, like the second round of them, until after the draft. Like, this is just Colbert's now. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Well, he
we're not going to do the whole
when
predecessor thing, guy in waiting. It's just going to be Colbert, and then we're going to hire the GM after the draft.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how the Steelers wanted to do it. And, I mean, Kevin Colbert deserves that. If he wants to go that way, he can get that. So, that's why I'm kind of like, I understand. It's all good. If that's how he wants to go out, he's earned that right, man. He can go however he wants to do it, man.
Sure. Farron Bradford. If the O-line we want are off the board at 20 and Olave is there, I think we have to pull the trigger.
Facts.
I think he's right.
Yeah, facts.
I think he's right.
Facts. You talk. What did we say, Deke? We needed a guy who could take the top off the defense.
Yeah.
There you go. Proven productivity, take the top off the defense, accustomed to the big moment. Yeah, without a doubt, man.
Well, I borderline feel the same way about Jameson Williams. It's just that with him, he might be sitting out a portion of the season. Well, because if we're to that point, the linebackers are gone. A couple, all the offensive linemen are gone that we want. Malik Willis is gone. What else is there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Farron just corrected. He said he meant Malik. He said that it was a typo, but it was supposed to be what we drafted.
Horns.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's a heck of a typo, bro. I don't know how you typo that, but
yeah. So how
do you typo Malik to Horns? So love. But I was like, yo, that's like when you be like, yo, I didn't mean to curse you out. That was autocorrect. You're like, well, what were you typing to autocorrect that? Like, geez, dude.
I feel like his theory is a little bit squashed though because of Colbert headlining the draft and then bringing on a guy later. It's not like we're going to hire Louis Rick and then he's going to have the draft.
Right.
So whoever Colbert's feeling, that's who he's going to pick.
Yeah.
But you're right. True. I mean, we trust Colbert. Whatever. He's not going to try to derail this thing.
Right.
I'm sure he'd like to go out on good terms.
So you say he's no Matt Canada?
No.
I'm playing. I ain't gonna do it. I'm just playing.
Matt Canada's a special breed.
I'm playing. Yeah. All right, we got a couple more till we get to this next topic so we can stay on clock right here, man. Like I said, I don't want to get in trouble this morning with my namaste, my morning meditation. I need it.
Yeah, we're good. King Stacks says, Big Moats, young Deke. Stopping in, showing love.
Nah, man.
Go ahead. Oh, man. Showing love, like,
morning,
man. Okay, I'm watching this out. I think it's an exclamation mark.
Oh,
man. Stop. Let me reread this. Stopping by and showing love like I do. Can we do something about this view/like ratio? Love the pod. Shout out.
You're right, man. We've been flirting with that 350 all morning, and we had 113 on the likes. Ooh.
I didn't even like it. That was my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, stop what you're doing. Hit the like button. That thumbs up is right next to you, whether you're on your phone or if you're on your desktop. Hit that little thumbs up. Show the love to the love, baby. Because we out here, we giving you that content the way y'all like it and the way that we like to like y'all as well. And also YouTube, they need that for the algorithm so we can keep this thing where it needs to be, all right? Because y'all notice, man, we keep going. The show getting bigger and bigger because of y'all, all right? But it's also because y'all continue to like the content. When y'all like the content, it lets YouTube know that, hey, man, yeah, they got something good going on over here. We need more people to watch this. And then more people come over, the community continues to grow. And that's where we are right now, man. So definitely make sure y'all like that video. Like the video, pretty please.
Q says, in the middle of moving, but I have to show my support. Yes, indeed.
Man, yes, indeed.
Stay safe out there moving.
Hey, absolutely. No, we appreciate you. And I was going to say also, man, we should ask him, are you a guy that asks your friends to help you move? Or do you just borrow the truck by yourself and just move by yourself? Remember we were talking about that the other day, Deke. Like,
I do remember that.
Yeah, man, because I think there's a line. There's a line.
I'm with you.
You call me up like, hey, yo, Moats, man, what you doing Saturday? You trying to help me move these? You trying to help me move my crib? I'll help you pay for it. Oh, man.
I'll look out for his comment. We got one more, though. Young Poppy Benito. Ooh, says, are y'all making your own Steeler mock drafts?
Oh, no, absolutely, man. We'll definitely do that. I think in the past when we did it live. And the reason why we haven't done the live one yet is because we're, like I said, just away from each other right now. So technology gets kind of wacky when you got all these different things going, which is why some days the stream is like extremely perfect and crystal clear. And then other times it's kind of like all over the place just because it's like right now, man, this is not my internet. This is not my setup. This is, you make do it with your half. So that's why we're not trying to do anything too much to mess up the, technology gods that are around us. But what we could always do, though, in a sense, man, especially, even next week or something like that, even if we do our own mock draft and just talk about those results, not necessarily do the mock draft live during the show, but just in the simple sense of, hey, these are the guys we picked, and just talk about it like that. We could do that as well. So
that could work. Actually, that might work good because we could say like we could even like highlight each pick, like these guys were available. This was my reasoning for the pick. It might be actually better that it might be just because we're a little more prepared as opposed to like on the spot.
Yeah. But yeah, we could do it, like I said, man, because I like both ways. So for right now, we could easily go to that. And we'll probably, I'll entertain that potentially next week since that's something you're interested in. I have received some of your mock drafts that people have sent as well. What we might start to do is, man, pick one each day that we'll just kind of react to and just discuss it. That might be something we'll start doing
like as we continue. End or something.
Yeah, at the end, it's like, hey, man, this is the person's mock draft that we're going to react to today, man. They had this and this and that and that. So, yeah, we got some options with this day and that we'll continue to look into, man. So, yeah, man. But like I said, we appreciate the recommendation. So, yeah, we'll definitely look into that, man, without a doubt.
Q has his response. He said, definitely borrow the truck. For sure.
I like it, man. As long as he's not asking for that, yo, come and help me. He's a good guy. I like him a lot.
We're all caught up.
All right. So, next topic that we got to discuss, man. There's an article on NFL.com where, this time of year, it's always who is the free agents that the Steelers should be looking at. Who are the free agents that the Steelers could potentially, you could be mocking or just thinking that, it makes more sense for them to get. And we've named a couple of guys, right? We've obviously talked about the different quarterbacks that have been linked to us. Jimmy G, Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Mr. Trubisky. But we really haven't talked a ton about other positions or other players being, rumored to us, or even in the sense of, hey, this makes sense for this guy to potentially be looking to go here. Because right now we're still waiting to see who's not going to get franchise tagged or transition tagged, who's not re-signing with their teams and stuff. But this article on NFL.com presented a different name for us, and it was a different position than what we've been discussing. And I actually am a little intrigued by it. So, Deke, if you are ready, man, you can go ahead and read off the name and what they said about him, and after that, we can react to it.
Yeah, so this article's called 2022 NFL Free Agency Matchmaking. One fit for each AFC team. And from what it looks like, you could correct me if I'm wrong, as I was reading through all this, they don't double the players fit. Like, they don't put
correct. It's just one
player with one team, and then they also put them on another team or two. It's just
which I actually like that as well, man.
All right, yeah. Once a person gets, it's like the draft. Once a person gets picked or selected for that team, you can't use that player again in the article. So for the Steelers, they have Darius Williams, cornerback from the Rams.
Super Bowl winning quarterback from the Rams. Put some respect on his name, man.
Yeah. It says, let's start here. I don't buy a syllable from departing general manager Kevin Colbert when he waxes poetic about shoving Mason Rudolph onto the field as an opening week starter for the Steelers. If that happens, it doesn't matter whom I float to Pittsburgh in this early March woodstorm. None of the free agent quarterbacks would do much to help. Though, which may be Colbert's overarching point, I'm handing the Steelers defensive assistance in the form of Williams. The former Rams coverman benefited playing across ace Jalen Ramsey, but his quickness and ball skills make him an attractive add-on for a defense waving goodbye to Joe Hayden and after letting go of Mike Hilton and Steven Nelson an offseason ago.
Whew. My man,
I understand the position.
Yeah.
But you go ahead first.
No, I was going to say, my man came with that flamethrower the first two sentences, though, man. There you go. He said, I don't believe anything that my man Kevin Colbert said. You put Mason Rudolph out there, it's over. Over. Yikes. That was a little rough, a little harsh. But no, you react to it first, man. And after that, man, I'll give my opinion on it as well, man.
I mean, I get the position. He's not the guy I'm really looking for. Yeah. I know he had a really good 2020 season. Apparently, he fell off a little bit. I was looking for more context. He was injured throughout the season. They weren't putting him in the same exact spots they were putting him in 2020 for success. He was having some tough matchups, particularly against tight ends. 29. So, yeah, he's not over the hill at all, especially when we're talking about Stephon Gilmore at 32.
He's 28 right now, but he'll be 29 when the season starts. So
he'll be 29.
Yeah, he'll be 29 when the season starts. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want Stephon Gilmore. I think they matched Stephon Gilmore to another team. I think it was in the NFC.
Yeah.
So for this exercise, I kind of get it. He's not one of the top guys I'm looking for. He's 5'9", 5'10" on the smaller side.
Yep.
I'd rather want a prototypical cornerback, especially with him coming off the down season. So mixed bag. Like, if we get him on a cheap I don't want to be spending out the wazoo for him.
Right.
But if we got him on a cheap contract, then fine. Almost like Trey Waynes whenever we were talking about the Bengals potentially cutting him. I do think he is better than Trey Waynes, at least in recent history. But, yeah, mixed reaction. I don't know. I'm not too gung-ho about it.
For sure. So for me, man, I kind of looked at it in a similar light. Obviously, we talk about Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson just in a way higher vein because those guys are proven number one corners. Those guys are proven that they can follow a receiver, a number one receiver, and still be productive. They generate turnovers. In a sense, they're force multipliers. But we also have to be realistic in the sense that, they might price themselves out for us.
Yeah.
If a team wants to give Gilmore, 16, 17, that might be too much for what we're trying to offer. That might be too much for where we're willing to go. J.C. Jackson, I think he's looking for close to 20, I think it is. So it's like, man, we said that he's probably going to be priced out of us as well. So if we're losing out on the two main guys that we want, but we still know we need another body, we need something that's proven, Darius is intriguing because he's only been in the league 4 years. He started out in Baltimore. Then from there, he went to LA. But as soon as he got out there with the Rams, you see he was the starter. 12 games, 16 games, 16 games. Like, plays a lot. And the thing that I do like is I think that he's a very smart player. I love his ball skills. I love how he attacks the ball. He always is playing through the catch point. Now, when you brought up him struggling against tight ends, yes, that is largely because of how small he is. He is built like a slot corner in terms of being 5'9",
Yeah, that's why I was surprised when I was looking more into him that he wasn't playing
outside.
more in the slot.
Yeah, but think about this. Like, the same way we thought Cam Sutton, we were like, man, Cam Sutton is really a slot, but we play him on the outside. I think that this guy is a better version of that. I think he's just – I think that his ball skills and his footwork, and I think he's just a little bit quicker than Cam. But I know Cam is a crazy smart player, so I'm not saying that Darius is going to be a smarter version. I just think that he's a little bit more athletic, and he just has more experience, kind of playing out there in a sense. But I can understand why they would say him to us. I think that he's fundamentally sound also, and that's one of the things that really allows him to have success on the outside. I mean, even sometimes when he's matching up, I think it was a couple clips I saw him match up against DeAndre Hopkins. And it's like, man, obviously DeAndre is a monster, but he understood how to play through his hands. He understood, just his leverage and being patient. He played a little bit more off coverage as well, opposite of Jalen Ramsey, who was always pressed up playing man. Watching Darius Williams kind of reminded me of when we were watching, and we'll talk about this guy in a little bit, when we're watching Cincinnati tape, and it's like you got Sauce Gardner on one side and Kobe Bryant on the other. Sauce is pressed up 90% of the time, hands on a guy, whereas Kobe is a little bit more off coverage, relying on his quickness and just savvy, just mentally being a smart defender and just having really good ball skills. When I would watch Darius, I kind of would feel like that at times, but Darius is a tough dude. I mean, he reads plays well. I've seen him jump in front of it. It was a screen pass that Russell Wilson was throwing. He beats the defender, catches the ball, outruns DK Metcalf for the touchdown. Like he brings productivity. He brings toughness. He's a willing tackler as well. He's not a guy that's going to shy away from anything. But I also just like the fact that he's coming off of a Super Bowl, because as a guy who was on a team that went to the AFC Championship, that mentality, it's a certain mentality you got to have.
That's a really good point, actually.
When you're going through and winning those type of games and getting in bigger moments in the postseason, you got to have a certain type of confidence. You got to have a certain type of just work ethic associated with you. You don't have a lot of time for mental errors or, questions about your effort. You need to be a super consistent player. And when you think of Darius, to me, that's what he brings. So granted, I don't look at him as an elite high-end talent, but he is a very consistent, just overall good player that I think you win with. And price tag wise, he's going to be a lot cheaper than those other guys that we've been looking at. Now, if you bring in Darius, I still feel like I would probably want to draft another guy potentially, just because we don't feel like he's the guy that you just put on your number one receiver and say, hey, we don't have to worry about it anymore. I still feel like he was going to need to, we're more confident than when we got Akello. But obviously, Akello developed and he showed that, hey, man, this guy's actually good and we think he could be something even better. I think with Darius, we would feel a lot more comfortable initially, but I think that we would still want to see him prove a little bit more to us that he could match up consistently against, just top flight receivers on a week in and week out basis.
Yeah, all that Super Bowl talk that you brought up, I really like. I mean, you brought up like the on-field stuff about having a certain mentality, not making mental errors, be focused, knowing what it takes to win. But also, I would add the locker room stuff. I mean, we were talking about bringing in a veteran receiver on offense. We could use that on defense too. Yeah, because we have Cam Hayward, but having another voice in there doesn't hurt, especially a dude that just won a Super Bowl, who knows what it takes, who had all those dudes out there with the Rams, like studs, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, obviously Stafford, Cooper Kupp, like he was around all that. If he could bring some of that over to here some way, that would help. Like, honestly, you see how they practice. You see how they conduct themselves in meetings. And that's one of the biggest things that I will always say that I was so fortunate to have in Pittsburgh, man. Being able to come here and you see Troy, Ike Taylor, Lawrence Timmons, James Harrison. You see Brett Keys on how he will prepare defensively. And you're just like, this is different. Because in Buffalo, we weren't preparing like that. Buffalo, it was like, all right, we watch our tape. We break down a couple of plays here or there, and after that, man, we out of there. We're not trying to spend a whole bunch of time, at the facility and stuff like that. But you get to Pittsburgh, and it's like, nah,
We're not in a hurry to leave. We don't. This is the slogan that we would see in Pittsburgh. We're not clock punchers. Because in Buffalo was like, man, all right, we come in at 8 a.m. and we leave at 3:30 p.m. That's what it got to be every single day. Pittsburgh, we're like, no, we don't punch that clock. You know, so if you got to come here at 6 a.m. and we got to stay till 6 p.m. to get it right, we're going to do that. And it was plenty of times where that would happen. You're just like, bro, this is nuts. But because everybody was so committed to it, when you're out there on that field with these dudes, man, it just hits different because now we know how each other is thinking. We know we're not playing football on a rudimentary level. We're playing it on a doctor level, you know what I mean? In terms of just seeing it and not just anticipating like, oh man, what's my job? Do I got to go to the B guy? I don't care about, I already know my job. I know what my guy next to me's job and the guy to the left of me's job. Now we're anticipating. Now we're saying, hey, what's the formation, bro? Oh, okay, you got 2x2. All right, man, learn some crosses. Oh, you got stacked. Okay, man. Oh, they condense on the backside. Oh, he bursting over here. Oh, it's 3x1. Bro, he can only run an inside breaking route. We know these things. When I look at Darius at times on tape, I feel similar ways when I watch how he jumps certain routes. I'm like, you're not doing that if you're not studying film to that extent. You're not doing that if you're not reading, you know, that information that's across from you. And when you start doing that, that's how you get guys that take that next step. That's how you get guys that may be undersized but are able to play bigger than what they truly are, play in positions that you truly want to associate them with. That's what I think of when I think of Darius, man.
Yeah, like we talked with Flores. Yeah. Worst
Absolutely,
case,
man.
this raises the standard a little bit. Maybe shakes things up. He brings in new ideas, being under McVay, the Super Bowl system that they were in. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. It's just I don't want to be paying like that much money. But this is the type of signing that maybe goes underrated, goes unnoticed, but helps a team build for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's
like I said, I don't hate it. I just understand like why. I said I don't hate it. I just understand why he could potentially be a guy that
for sure.
that we would end up with
against
if the other guys are gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the easy thing for this article would have been Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Jackson to the Steelers. I mean, they just could have talked about Flores the whole time.
Yeah.
In terms of like free agency matchmaking.
But you also got to remember, man.
Just do that.
But what the Steelers pay what those guys are going to be looking for. And that's the part where we just, even though we got a ton of cap space, I don't know if we're going to be willing to break the bank on those guys like that, man. Even though I think we should, I just don't think that they will all the way. Yeah.
Juju to the Jaguars.
I did notice that, man. I don't hate that for Juju. I mean, I like it for him. Honestly, you still you got the quarterback.
They're gonna lose
there.
Chark.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna get an opportunity, man. The weather is good, so you really can't complain. And it's a lot less pressure on you playing in Jacksonville than it will be in Pittsburgh. You could do anything you want, TikTok, anything. No one's gonna complain.
Yeah, they would love that because it would bring publicity to the Jaguars.
Absolutely, man. So trust me, like it's just a totally different vibe. I tell you, they got a pool down there. That's how they get the people. Hey, get in the pool, baby. We suck on the field, but get in that pool. The pool looks good. It's like, oh, all right, cool.
Well, they may lose Chark.
Yeah,
I would assume he's gone.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, maybe we could just flip flop him, right? We go ahead and sign Chark. They could sign Juju.
I'd do that trade. I would do that trade.
I would as well. I'm not gonna lie, I would.
Well, we want to go to our final topic.
Yeah, man.
Topics.
Absolutely. I believe there was one more. I think it was a super that came in. So if you could tap that real quick.
Oh yeah, we got a few. We got a few. I'll read them off real quick.
Yeah, because I was saying we got 7:14, so we're still good on time.
We got 30 for the draft. Now, Lonnie Rowe Entertainment LLC says Trevor Penning or Jordan Davis for the trenches. Jordan Davis, fine. Actually, not Jordan Davis if we get to it back. Not as much. Trevor Penning, just not. I'm good on him.
Yeah, I don't want Trevor, but I would be fine with Jordan. I mean, I like him regardless. I kind of do,
Well, I guess you could just do split time with him and Tyson.
That's what I'm saying. Huh? Like, I would still be fine with that.
Tuitt doesn't really impact it that much.
Yeah, and we know that Tyson is getting older, Tuitt is getting older. So either way, I already have, a guy in the wings that's ready to take over whenever that opportunity does arise. So, yeah, I don't hate that at all, man.
No. Yeah, maybe that's the sleeper pick if all of our other positions are out. The linemen are gone. Malik's gone. And who else? Linebackers are gone.
Yep.
We don't want to take a cornerback that early in the first because like all the studs are actually gone. Yeah, maybe you go that way. Maybe you just take Davis because They got him slipping down the draft boards. They had him going in the teens. Mm-hmm. Now it seems like he's going 20s, late 20s right now.
But that's good because, when you start to get more talent coming in early, that's looking faster and they're moving up the draft board, somebody got to fall. So that's how that thing works, man. So I'm fine with it.
The big dude's got to fall, huh?
Yeah, I'm with it,
man. Is not posting the 40s.
That's fine with me, man. Hey.
Farron Bradford says cornerback Gilmore, linebacker Johnson from Denver, guard Sheriff. Also, we hit up AZ for Isabella, and I think we're in a great spot.
Okay. I like the wish list. I like it. We got money. We got
I'm
cash
hearing a
on
lot
deck.
more Sheriff at guard recently. People are talking him up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could get him and like Jensen or something like that. There's some O-linemen out there. You're just going to have to pay a little bit.
Right. We got some options. We definitely got some options, though, man. Was that all? You caught up on the supers?
That is it.
All right. So before we go any further, I just remembered we were supposed to pay a bill last show. And I totally did not pay said bill. So we're going to pay this bill today.
On a Friday.
Because today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. The leaders in below the waistline grooming, baby. Because you got to keep that grass low so that tree can definitely show, baby. But we've talked about, all their awesome products, right? The premium performance package that they have, where we talk about that 2-in-1 shampoo that my man Deke loves to use. Man, he keeps that hair extra fluffy and clean, I personally like the body wash. Always makes me feel good and smell like a manly man. But more importantly, that Lawnmower 4.0, the one with that tactical light that turns on and off? I never leave home without it, baby. So when you're on the road, you got to keep the trimmers with you, baby. But as
you got it in your glove compartment in your car.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you never know. We got action? All right. Manscaped. But that's how you keep it feeling good. But as we always say, man, we don't talk about anything on this show unless we have a promo code for you, baby. And that promo code is Moats. Use that promo code. You get you 20% off along with free shipping worldwide at manscaped.com. So stop wasting time and make sure you use that promo code. Cop the awesome products. And I can trust you. You can trust me when I tell you this. Your delicate dangly twins will be thankful for it. Okay? So shout out to Manscaped. There we go.
Whenever I use the body spray. I mean, you gave me all the products, man. I like all the products, but whenever I'm out and about, the chicks, they go from calling me Deke to Deke Daddy. Ooh. Use that body spray, dude.
Ooh. Deke Daddy. Yeah. Let's go.
You guys can do it too. The chicks will be calling you by a nickname too. Just use Manscaped.
You can do it too. You are all with this morning, bro.
I got one more super chat here.
All right, let's
go, UW. He said, regardless of the Tua situation, getting Jones or Davis would be a good plan since Tyson is getting up there. Yeah, we just mentioned that.
No, absolutely, man. We're with you 100% on that, man.
Because Tua coming back helps the D-line as a whole. Yeah. But, position by position, he's not like that nose tackle that we're looking for. And a potential nose tackle long term. Like we talk about Casey Hampton just being that stud in the middle. Mm-hmm. But Jordan Davis, when you brought up the snap counts and stuff, that had me a little concerned.
No, seriously, man, because you're asking yourself for first round value, is it worth that? Especially what we see with the NFL game is shifting to a lot more nickel packages, a lot more lighter body personnels out there, guys that can rush a little bit more consistently. But at the same time, we know how we struggled against the run at times. Now, granted, Tyson wasn't out there, but we're not going to be able to count on Tyson next year, or not next year, but 2-3 more years. It's like, man, eventually, that's going to end. So you want to make sure you have the replacement, already in house potentially. So that's why for me, I'm like, I can see it. It can make sense, man. It can make sense. But
I'll read one more real quick.
Yeah, and then after that, we'll get to. We got the Brobarian in the house. Let's go to Brobarian, man. I love when you tap in with us. I know you already checked in, but it's always good to see in the super section as well.
Says, what do you guys think Steelers will do if both QBs disappear before we get to them? Just go another position.
Yeah, you silly, bro.
Maybe even if they're there, I don't know if we necessarily take them.
Yeah, I'm not 100% we do. Yeah, I could see if one of these fast receivers are still available. I could see us going that. route. If one of these linebackers fall because of all this speed talk, I can see us easily doing that also, man. So we have some versatility, we have some flexibility in a sense with where we're picking it, because we do have multiple places of need. But at the same time, we can't point and just say, hey, we are below the line completely here. Like, I just think that gives us a little bit more flexibility with this draft, even though, like I said, we still need multiple pieces.
Yeah. All right, ready for this draft talk?
Yeah, man. So shout out to everybody once again, man. Y'all continue to send us the names of players y'all want us to break down. Send it to the email address, right? moatswinners@gmail.com. You keep sending those names in. We will continue to break the tape down on them and give you our opinions of these guys. All right. And we had a good group again, man. I like how we're getting a little bit more diverse with this group. But the first guy I wanted to start out with was left tackle out of Southern Utah, number 77, Braxton Jones. Big body, but like long, lean type of guy, man. 6'7", 310 pounds. Predominantly played left tackle at Southern Utah. At the Senior Bowl, he did take some reps at right tackle to show a little bit of versatility. But he, to me, looks like, more of the left tackle mold. But it was good to at least see him be able to switch sides. But when I look at him, man, he's long and lean in terms of, just his build. He's not a thicker body tackle like some of these guys are. When you think of like a Zach Banner or even a Chooks, right? Those are thicker body top and bottom. This guy, he's lean. He looks like he just ate a lot in a sense, man. But he has really long arms, which I like about him as well. I think he moves really well too for his size, and he anchors versus the bull rush. I think he could be a little bit more consistent there, but for the most part, I think that he plays with good fundamentals in terms of keeping his helmet out of the blocks, right? We talked about, I forgot which play we were talking about 2 weeks ago that we said always would drop his head on contact, the tackle from Texas, San Antonio, whatever. He would always drop his helmet on contact, and it would kind of put him in bad situations. I think that Braxton does a better job of just staying up out of it. He's also a guy who carries his hands low. Now, it's a pro and a con, because carrying his hands low, it doesn't allow defenders to swipe his hands easily. They don't have that target. And when he is going to, when he's in pass protection, he's able to get up under these guys and get their pads nice and clean. But like I said, you got to be right. You got to have your timing good, because otherwise your chest is exposed. So like I said, it's a pro, but it's also a con in a sense. I think that he does have strong hands, because when you see him latch onto defenders,
they ain't moving.
Yeah, they don't move. They don't move. And I do feel like he he gets his feet moving well. Now, initially when the contact happens, his feet stops, and that's why you'll see him struggle at times when guys are able to just, put together moves in sequence, which typically happens a lot at the NFL level. At the NFL level, once you hit once, you're going to that next move. You're going to that next thing. You're trying to flow. For him, at times, that's where he can struggle a little bit, because he initially, when he hits them, his feet do stop. But if they're not already, thinking about that next move, he gets his feet rolling right after that, and then he's typically good. But like I said, I think his technique is really good. I like that a lot. I do like the fact that, even though he struggles at time with the speed rush or the up and under, like the dip rush that we see TJ Watt do a lot, even though he struggles with that, his counter or his ability to, I guess, give him a little bit of balance is he uses those long arms to engulf some of these defenders when they're going down like that. Or he'll take his offhand and put it on the defender's hip, their back hip, and kind of just run them by or just push them so that way they can stop their momentum. But I do think that, he's athletic enough to play on the perimeter. I also could potentially see him moving inside and being, like I said, one of them big body guards as well, where he doesn't have to necessarily be threatened by speed. Remember, because that's kind of how I felt about Trevor Penning as well. It's like, I like the size, but I'm worried about versus those flamethrowers on that perimeter that can dip, the guys that have that speed off the edge. I do think that he's going to struggle with that at times. And I just don't think he generates a ton of movement in the ring game. I think he's more of a position blocker versus a mauler. Meaning, when you watch him block, he's going to get his body where it needs to be, and his butt will be in the hole, so that way the defender's not there, but he's not necessarily blowing guys off the field. And I was a little bit hesitant about that, because I know he was playing against smaller DNs as well with the competition that he was going against. So that was why I was really questioning how strong he actually is as well, man.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he moves too well in the running game. If like you're asking him to get out in space.
Yeah, he crosses over at times.
Not terrible, not terrible because you're at his size and everything that we talked about. He looks like kind of athletic, but he's not a dude that's going down the field like that. And it's sometimes it could look a little awkward. But I like what you were saying about his feet constantly moving, because it looks like sometimes the rushers could get a really nice punch on him and he's get pushed back. But then he has that really nice anchor, and then he can just be a brick wall, and then he just stays
Absolutely,
there.
Man.
But
absolutely,
it goes back to your other point. I've seen him get cooked a couple times, like way too easily.
Yeah, and it was because
speed
of the
rushers, I guess. Those like counter moves.
Yeah, the speed rushers and the guys that can dip under him, he struggles a lot with that. And that, like I said, that's for me why I just ask myself, like, I don't think that he can start and like live on that perimeter because the speed is going to hurt him. But if you're talking extra alignment, I think that's an easy thing for him. I think that he could come in and transition to a guard position where he isn't going to be threatened as much by that speed. And I think that he could excel there as well. He would just be a tall guard, but I think he could do that also, though, man.
Yeah. Looks like late round pick, as you mentioned, extra lineman right now.
Yeah.
Has potential, just got to be coached up. That was kind of my takeaway.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I wasn't blown away watching him, but like I said, watching him at the Senior Bowl, I did like him a lot more because he showed that anchor versus just higher quality competition. You know, because like I said, Southern Utah, they weren't a good team this past season. I don't think they won a game. You know, they were getting beat pretty bad, but seeing him at the Senior Bowl, it just kind of showed me that, hey, man, the team sucked, but he's still a good player. I just don't think he's a great player. But, I mean, right now, you know, when you're talking about certain caliber guys like him, I mean, they're going to have some holes. They're going to have some flaws. But he is a guy that, like I said, I could see as a extra lineman type early on, man. I definitely think, like, later round for me, though, if I'm looking at him, man.
Sure. You want to get to the next guy? We're at 10:27 on my end. So, yeah.
Okay,
like 20 minutes, a little less than 20.
Yeah. So we'll you know, pick it up just a little bit more. Next guy, though, is Kobe Bryant. Kobe. No, not that
Great
Kobe.
Name.
The other one. It's an awesome name. Well, he from Cincinnati. He was number 7 initially. Then he switched to number 8 for the semifinal game against Bama. But yeah, I like Kobe a lot, man. 6'1", 198, was productive as heck, man. 44 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 picks, 11 PBUs. This dude is smooth as heck, man, out there on the perimeter, man. I love his footwork. I think that, you know, he trusts his feet. He has quick feet, and he's very patient as well, right? In the sense that with his patience, he doesn't allow himself to ever feel like he has to be sped up, right? He could just take his time, ultimately, you know, in terms of taking his time. But with that patience, in terms of him playing off coverage at times, it just helps him out a lot. And his vision is clean. Like, he's never necessarily threatened by the receivers in terms of how they're running their routes, in terms of how they want to stem him and try to get past him on his leverage. He just understands that, hey, man, I'm already in position. I know my feet are good. I know my eyes are good, and he can read this route. He can trust it, and that's the thing that really jumps off the screen with me with him. Now, he plays a lot of off coverage, like I was saying earlier, because he was opposite Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner was man-to-man, pressed up every single time. But with Kobe, he was doing more of the off coverage stuff. But like I said, because he trusts his pedal, because he understands how to not be in a hurry, it allowed him to still be aggressive on, you know, out breaking routes, in breaking routes, some comebacks. I think that, like I said, his ball skills are top notch. He is super competitive at the catch point. Super competitive at the catch point, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dude runs a little slant. Receiver's open, even gets a couple steps. I'm like, oh, wow, nice catch. Good little wrap-up tackle. Oh, no, it's incomplete.
No,
it's incomplete somehow. It's either incomplete or it's a fumble.
It's a fumble. I'm like, bro, like watching, I'm just like, how are you doing this? Like,
this is even like, some of them are like the quarterback's throwing at a low ball away, so there's no way the cornerback can get at it. He still found a way.
Yeah,
no clue,
dude,
but
like,
he's my favorite dude out of this bunch that was submitted for sure.
It was crazy watching him, man. Like, I think he has really good. I like his size as well. I think he has good size in terms of being 6'1", right? Not that 5'9" that we talked about, because as Deke can attest, those 3 to 4 inches matter. All right, so with him being 6'1", he just is a longer guy. He has long arms as well, and you can see him use those. But I think for me, man, he played a ton of off coverage, but I still think he's capable of playing press man as well. I think he can use that length and the good fast feet to play press up. I don't think he has to only be an off-ball corner, but I just think that he was more comfortable there. You know, like I said, him playing opposite Sauce Gardner really allowed him to do that. Now, I like that he's a willing tackler. I like that he's not afraid of contact, but he has to improve his tackling. At times, he going to shoot that gun, but them angles are a little off. And I'm just like, we can improve that a little bit, because, since he is playing off, he has to cover a lot of ground. So a typical 5-yard route, it's, 7-8 yards of space that he has to try to eat up. And at times he does get caught a little bit, in terms of being missed or being, just not being as accurate when he's going out there for that tackle and stuff like that. But I do like him. I do have another concern with him, though. And you hit on it a little bit when you were talking about him. You said, man, at times you'll see a guy run a slant, and it's like, he has like a couple yards separation on him. But he'll close it, he'll finish the play. I don't know how fast he is top end, because there was some plays that I'm watching of him, not just, in terms of big moments, but just some regular plays that the ball's not even going to him. And it's like guys are getting separation just in terms of the speed part. Now, could it be him baiting guys? Yes, that could definitely be the case. But at the same time, I just wonder what's his top end. And he's a guy that I'm interested to see how he times. Kind of like when we said Skye Moore, right? It was like with Skye, it was like, yo, we think he's fast, but I just need to see it officially to confirm it. With Kobe, I just want to see like what that time is for him, man, because that's my only concern with him is, man, do you have that that elite speed to match it with these guys at the NFL level out there on the perimeter consistently?
Because the off-ball tackling, that can be coached up.
Right.
We love the physicality. Yeah. We love his ball skills. So, man, if the speed can be taken care of, then I like this dude in the second round a lot. Like
me too,
I think that's where they have him projected right now.
Yeah.
The physicality is awesome. And then his ball skills, some of his picks even, too, how he was catching up to dudes down the field.
And hands catches as well. Not body catching, hands catching. Like, that stood out to me a lot, man.
Yeah, so I'm good with him. I like this suggestion a lot.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So wait, what's he running? Are cornerbacks running today? Is it corners and linebackers running today?
Oh, no. It might be running. Have running backs went yet? I'm not sure. Like you said,
they haven't went yet either.
Yeah, I gotta look. I haven't had a chance to look into the schedule because obviously out here, man, I'm around the clock. Once we get off this show, it's like, man, I don't have time to check into anything until it's late at night. But yeah, I have to see. It's either gonna be today or tomorrow, though. If I remember correctly, I think DBs are gonna run last because when I went there, my experience was receiver. It was O-line ran first. Or was it receivers that ran first, then O-linemen, then it was linebackers, or D-linemen, linebackers, then it was running backs, and then it ended with your DBs, like your corners and safeties, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for that Chad Muma 40. That's what I'm looking for. No, seriously,
yeah, absolutely, man. Let's go UW is going to let us know. And trust me, once we get that speed, we going to lead off the show with that one. You better believe it. We feel like Chad is a part of our family now. Sheesh. All right, but the next guy we're going to talk about, man, is also he played for Cincinnati as well, man. This Cincinnati defense was loaded, dude. Can we just stop and say that they were loaded, bro? They had guys at all.
No wonder
levels,
they were
man.
Undefeated
at all
until
levels.
Bama.
Yeah, but the next guy is Bryant Cook, number 6 from Cincinnati. He was their safety, 6'1", 210. Super productive as well. 96 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 PBUs. Now, this cat, man, he looks strong as heck when he's playing, dude. Strong as heck. Physical. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, big hit.
And he is not afraid to hit. Yeah, he laying that thigh out. I like that a lot, man. I also like that he had versatility. You would see him playing in the center field, but he would also play down in that box around the line of scrimmage a lot of times as well. I personally like him more in the box. Think more of a strong safety like a Terrell Edmonds versus middle field Minka Fitzpatrick type. But I just like that versatility that he played with. I think that his read and reaction, though, versus the run, when he's down by that line of scrimmage, he played that thing like a linebacker. Like he's seeing balls.
He's wrapping up ball. Dudes. And these are running backs going through pretty much wide open holes, and it's just him and the running back, and he's able to make the play. He's able to make the tackle.
He's fitting them up. Absolutely. He's fitting them up nice. So that was definitely
I don't know how, because he's 6'1". I mean, his frame, whenever you look at his measurable, he looks so small, though. I'm like, this guy looks like a slot corner to me.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. So that's the thing I want to see. Like, is he really 6'1", 210? Because I thought the same. I was like, yo, he looks small, but
he plays bigger than that,
this
though.
Dude, he's a
whatever
hitter,
his measurables are, he plays big.
Yeah. And he's a short tackler. You said it yourself, man. He wraps up guys, man. He wraps them up. I like how he uses hands to defeat blockers. Man, there was a time I saw him take on a tackle. It was like an offensive tackle.
He can get off the dude pretty good.
What? I was like, man, safeties don't do that. No. That's different right there, man. And I definitely like that. And I think he plays fast. You watch him. When he's going to get that rock, he is going. There's nothing that's going to stop him, man. So I definitely like that. Now, I think he plays fast, but I don't think he has elite speed. And I do think that his hips are a little bit too tight to be, like I said, that center field safety. I think around the box, he's fine. I do like the fact that he also plays some slot corner as well. You would see him match up in the slot. And I thought that he was smooth in times, man. But I do think that versus some speedier, just better route runners in the slot that you get in the NFL typically, I do think he could struggle in a sense there. But I think that, man, this dude is physical as heck. I mean, he's one of those guys you want on your team. That's kind of how I look at him.
Yeah. We talked about Petrie, right?
Yeah,
he might go second. He might even go late first. This dude just seems like a version of him. I don't know where they have him going. Is it more later? Is it more like third, fourth, maybe even later than that?
Yeah.
I just don't see anything wrong with him outside of, for me, the initial eye test was just the measurables.
Yeah, for me, like I said, the only thing that I saw was like I said, he's definitely I think at the NFL level, a box safety. And depending on how big he is, that could potentially scare some people. But I think he's so strong and he plays with just such good fundamentals, especially when he's tackling guys and using his hands to take on blockers, that is not going to be a significant issue. But I just don't want to, I wouldn't want him to have to like live in space, because I think that's where he could get into trouble a little bit versus some of the shiftier guys, man. That's all. But I like him a lot, though. I think he's a good player, really good player.
Yeah, but who knows? If he actually comes in at the actual height that he's listed, then maybe the measurables aren't even a concern. But he just looks so much smaller on the. I can't explain it. He looks
small, bro. Absolutely, no. Like
I was like, man, for the big hits this dude's laying and how good he is in the run game, like this is really impressive. But then I looked, I'm like, 6'1"? Are we sure?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Are we sure 6'1"?
I was super
like
surprised.
Edmonds is 6'2".
Right.
Like, I even looked at that. I was
way taller. Edmonds looks way taller than him, man.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah. So
he could be a flyer. I'm not opposed to him. Like if we don't get Petrie early on, maybe this is a guy for that versatile type of role you were talking about. Slot, strong safety, just as like a backup safety later on in the draft. It looks good to me. I didn't really see any problems outside the stuff you were talking about.
In worst case, he gives you special teams. Worst case, absolute worst case. I don't see a person that's going to be blocking him on special teams, bro. Just because of, like I said, the speed that he plays with and just how strong he is as well, man. Because he's gonna have some mismatches in a sense, man.
Yeah.
All right. Now this next guy is a linebacker, but I just call him an athlete because he played quarterback for a couple of years and was an All-American. Then he went over and said, I'm going to play inside linebacker. And he was an All-American as well. Troy Anderson, number 15 from Montana State, 6'4", 235. Now, this guy was super intriguing because I hadn't really heard about him until, y'all sent the emails, and I'm looking at him at the Senior Bowl, and I'm like, dude, this guy looks like a natural linebacker. I like his coverage a lot. I think he's very fluid. I think that he was fast as well, like the new style prototypical linebacker, almost in a sense reminded me of like a Chad Muma. At times, man, in terms of how he was able to move through coverage and stuff like that. And I said, man, I think that he has a natural nose for the ball. He looks like he's having fun also. But I was just like, man, I think he'd get a little bit stronger. And I don't want to say he was raw, but he's just like he could develop a little bit more. But then I start to research him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's only been playing linebacker for 2 seasons. He just switched over. He was a quarterback. And that's why I was like, that's why he looks so fast at times. Yeah, my man, Troy, it's crazy when I'm looking at him more and more now because he becomes that much more intriguing knowing that he's only had 2 years of linebacker experience. To see the speed that he plays with, to see his natural ability to cover, read routes, and soft hands in the sense of, man, he can generate turnovers, but he's not afraid to hit. He will go in there and hit a guy. You know what I mean? Like, I like that a lot about him. And I think that he's a sideline-to-sideline guy. He is the new version of the prototypical linebacker. And watching him at Montana State, it's like, all right, man, you look nice as heck. But I'm like, all right, you're at Montana State. So, granted, they were winning. They went to the, I think they lost in the semifinals this year in the FCS, which was still, like I said, top-notch. But you just always are a little concerned. But to see him at the Senior Bowl versus bigger body, faster athletes, and him still looking like he belonged, that definitely was impressive to me, man. So with him, I think the big knock is just he's just young at that position. But you know who else was young at their position when we drafted them? Now, granted, it was different, but TJ Watt. I mean, he only played, 2 years of outside linebacker before we got him, and we saw how he was able to really grow and develop. So when I look at Troy, I'm like, 6'4", 235, sideline to sideline, natural coverage ability. Since he played quarterback, you already know he's crazy smart, and you see that when he's dropping into coverage, whether it's man or zone, how he can read routes. I enjoy that. And, dude, I hate to talk effort, at times. But for him, man, he has some plays, bro, where his effort is just outstanding. Bro, I'm watching him in, I believe the game they were playing Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State has the most crazy screenplay ever. It's a reverse flea flicker. It was a double reverse flea flicker throwback screen. My man Troy runs down the middle of the field for the run action, shuffles over to the left for the day going for the reverse, goes back to the rush on the flea flicker, and then when the screenplay happens, he's the guy chasing him downfield 40 yards and flying. I said, bro, that is different. I was like, I played hard. I ain't play that hard. It's like, all of that, and then you're the main guy catching. Like, he didn't catch the guy because it was a small receiver, but he was the last guy like that was even close to getting him. I was like, yo, that is just crazy to me, man, to see him play with that type of effort all the time. But yeah, man, I like him a lot because he's super intriguing, man. Super intriguing.
100% right.
Yeah.
The speed, the background at quarterback. Also had some background at safety too. So maybe that's
absolutely, why man.
He's a little bit better than coverage than most of your average linebackers out there. The only thing's the inexperience, but if you're telling me this dude's going in the 4th or 5th round, I think he could be worth a flyer because of that athletic ability. And some of the stuff that you may be critical of him, I feel like could be coached up. It's just maybe his shuffle's a little off, or he's not reading the holes right. But like, I feel like as a linebacker, you could just get coached up in that. The athleticism,
and
though,
and he knows how to get to the ball. Like you either get to that ball or you don't, and that's kind of how I look at it with linebackers. And he is a guy that definitely gets to that ball, man.
Yeah, I think he's intriguing. So we got a couple more minutes. You want to get the last guy? All
right. So this last guy, man, out of Auburn University, Smoke Monday, number 21, safety, 6'2", 196. Now, you watch Smoke play, man. Long frame, long arms, really good speed, and he is physical as heck, dude. Like, he's a big hitter, without a doubt, but he also wraps up, which I do like as well, because we said at the NFL level, big hits don't matter. You have to be able to wrap these guys up because their contact balance is just too good. But I think that, man, his ability to time the snap count when he's blitzing is top notch. I think his closing speed to ball carriers jumps off the screen as well. Like I said, I just like the fact that he's always able to get to that rock. I think he has good ball skills as well, and he shows some ability to play multiple positions in the secondary. And he's rangy, and he plays with a lot of emotion. You see, anytime he makes a play, he walking over guys, he big boy flex, he's
lives up to his name.
Yeah, he's definitely going to show like he wants all the smoke. He's with that. So I do like that. And I do feel like you got to be like that on defense. You got to have a little bit of that crazy in you. You know what I'm saying? But my couple concerns that I have with him is he's not the biggest safety in terms of weight. 6'2", 196, he looks wiry at times. So when you're talking about NFL caliber guys, week in and week out, could it take a toll on him with him being, more of an in the box type of safety? The other thing that I think of with him is just that I question how loose his hips are. And when you talk about a guy's hips, especially a safety, it's important because they play in space a lot. And versus these NFL caliber receivers and running backs, they are shifty. They make you miss in space. And if a guy is tight, it's hard for them to cover those guys. It's hard for them to survive in terms of the open field play that has to happen at the NFL level. So that's kind of like my only concern with him. But he could easily put that to rest, you know? And it's one of those things that you just got to get smarter and make sure that you understand angles and just playing with really good technique and fundamentals. But it doesn't scare me with him, but that is something that I think could be a concern for him. Now, I know the year before he looked way better, but, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah, you come back and we got to go off this year. It's different.
How would you rank those two safeties?
I like Brian Cook better than
That's
Smoke.
what I was thinking.
I think Smoke hits really hard, and I like that about him. I like the emotion, but to me, I just think that Brian's just an overall better player. I think he has less holes in his games. I think that he's a better athlete as well. So that's why for me, I kind of lean Bryant, man.
That's what I was thinking too, because even with Smoke helping out in the run game, I didn't think it was like Cook. It was like you got the big hits, and maybe even sometimes you got them after the running back gained a few yards, but like Cook was like right there at the line of scrimmage, wrapping dudes up. It wasn't as flashy. It just looked
different, But
I feel like you're right. I think he could be the better overall safety.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. So that was kind of like my feelings on him. But once again, with Smoke, though, man, I think he'll be an elite special teamer. I think worst case, he's elite in terms of that avenue. But he would have to develop a little bit more for me. That's why I have him more. So I see him as a mid to late round guy. Maybe he should have, stayed another year. I can see that as well. But as a whole, man, I think Brian is a better prospect to me than him, man.
You want me to get these super chats?
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Yep.
King Stacks says, happy to have the pod during rough times. Thank you.
Hey, no, salute, man. Salute, man. And anything we can do to help you during these rough times, man. We're always trying to provide that content to take your mind off of it, man.
Chris Mack, if you could draft the next receiver, who would it be? If Olave drops, why not?
Yeah, I'm either Olave, Jameson Williams.
Skye Moore. I mean, we're talking about Moore. Second, third round.
I love Skye Moore right now, man. He's the guy that's shooting up my draft board, man. Loving him a lot. But we'll see, if he is available where we're thinking that he goes, because guys running speed with fast times like that, with the productivity, it changes. They typically don't last the same way, So that's kind of where we're stuck with him right there. But yeah, I would definitely one of those three guys we just named, man. Absolutely.
That's
actually, before we go, I did have to. I forgot. I ain't tell you this. It's a UFC fight this weekend, baby.
Okay.
Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington. Oh yeah, UFC 272. This is the one I'm excited about, bro. Because they, like I said, they trained together. They used to live together. They're dope fighters in their own right. Colby was a former champion. Masvidal was the BMF champ. It's like, man, they've both done some spectacular things. Now both of them are coming off of losses, but the guys that they've lost to were Kamaru Usman, the champion, right? He beat both of these guys twice, so it is what it is. But man, you could feel the intensity. I mean, even yesterday, seeing them doing the face-off, bro, I've never seen that many police on stage for a face-off. But because those two guys, legitimately do not like each other, they just, legitimately got personal beef, it was real. You could feel it, man. I'm really excited for this fight, man. I think if Jorge can catch him, man, Jorge can definitely slump him, because Jorge has that, one-punch knockout ability, and that's where he thrives at. But at the same time, Colby, his pace, his wrestling, he can tire guys out. And it's just such a nightmare when you're going against him. That's why it was so cool to see a Kamaru be able to minimize that and, take Colby to the deep end to an extent. But this is the one for me where I'm like, man, I can see the longer it goes, I think it benefits Colby Covington. I think if it's, inside of 1 or 2, I love Jorge getting the knockout. But I think that this is one of those fights, Deke, that, this is going to live up to the hype, bro. You definitely tap into this one, Deke. This is one of them, man.
Someone commented that on the Twitch stream yesterday saying, Deke, you're going to watch this fight. I didn't even know there was a big fight going on. But if someone buys it.
It's the one, bro.
If someone buys it. Or maybe, actually, you know what? I won't wait for people to buy it, to hit me up. Maybe I'll hit them up and say, hey, are you going to buy this?
just go ahead and ask me. Yeah. I can see it, bro. But no, seriously, man. Like, ooh, I want to call the knockout for Jorge, but at the same time,
who's the pick? Give us the pick.
I'm gonna go Kobe solely because I just think that the wrestling. I think that his chin is sturdy, and he's like I said. At the time, I feel like he's in Jorge's head in a sense, also because Kobe. This is what Kobe does. He sells fights, but usually he sells fights with nobody he has beef with. This is actually somebody that they personally don't like each other. And I just think that, that emotion for Jorge could cost him in a sense in terms of making him tired. And if you get tired versus Kobe, you're in a world of hurt, man. You're in a world of hurt. But I'm going to say Kobe, and I'm fine with Kobe. I think that, he wins later on in the fight, third, fourth round. But if Jorge knocks him out, trust me, man, I am not going to be surprised. I will not be surprised because Jorge has that. But he's a nightmare of a matchup for him, man. I just feel like
Jorge's emotions could be his gift and his curse.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, he has his hands behind his back, and the last time we saw him do that was when he knocked out Ben Askren, when he kneed him in the head and put him to sleep right at the beginning. It was like the ultimate highlight reel knockout. That's the last time we seen, Jorge with his hands behind his back chill like this right now. So we're going to see, but I ain't gonna lie. Ben Askren ain't no Kobe Covington, baby. They two different stratospheres of fighters, man. So, yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But, dude, this was a blast, man. A fun show as always. Shout out to everybody that was with us this morning, man. We greatly appreciate your support, man. Everybody that's been tuning in, rocking with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, until next time, baby.
Peace.